Lehmacher, and he's a senior executive in logistics and supply chain. Today we're going to discuss the autonomous vehicles and the impact on the urban supply. So Wolfgang, can you first provide a brief background of yourself?
Dustin, it's a pleasure speaking with you, and thanks for offering the conversation. I have been in supply chain, logistics, and transport the entire professional career. I worked with global logistics providers, express and parcel operators, Fortune 500 companies, startups, and international organizations, mainly in the field of strategic partnerships, international expansion, and innovation. I'm passionate about the flow of goods and the supply chain for the simple reason I consider this to be the backbone of business and modern life. My interest lies in particular in the area of the nexus of economy, society, and environment. In particular, I'm looking for combinations for innovations which at least serve more than one of the three dimensions, so either people, the planet, or the profit. We need people and technology to make this happen and achieve progress in this vital area. We need to find solutions which cover the needs of, for example, 7 billion of people without depleting our resources. We need to protect the life of the future generation. Are we going into the right direction? Yes. However, I believe not fast enough. We need to accelerate and intensify our efforts, individually and collectively. One of the areas we need to focus on is, as you mentioned, urban planning. In particular, with my background, I'm focusing on the mobility in the context of urban planning. Every month, the equivalent of the population of Denmark is moving into the cities. This is about 6 million people. Already today, there are worldwide 300 cities with more than 1 million inhabitants. The world's biggest city is Tokyo with around 38 million. And China plans the Pearl River City with 42 million people. This will be the result of a merger of 11 urban areas, and the projections for this area is around 80 million urban dwellers. We easily can imagine the enormous needs in respect to mobility, but also energy, food, etc. And we are not only talking about mobility of people. Urban dwellers need goods, they need commerce. And people do not only wish to be mobile and buy goods in shops, but also receive online purchases quickly and at home. It increases traffic and possibly accidents, noise, and pollution. This requires investments in new technology and innovation in new models of operating to provide the required capacity, but also reduce the unwanted consequences such as CO2 emissions.
So what could be a good solution for today's overcrowded cities?
Yeah, there are many ways, ranging from using electric vehicles to sorting shipments and parcels in car parks, or deliver goods at night. Cities require a bundle of measures tailored to the individual location and situation. Two developments, from my point of view, are most possibly relevant and important. One is autonomous vehicles and what comes with it, the sharing economy. Just imagine everyone would share a vehicle. The World Economic Forum, in collaboration with the Boston Consulting Group, is working on the understanding of the requirements and consequences of operating self-driving vehicles, in particular in cities. Many benefits have been identified. For example, approximately 20% better fuel efficiency, 70% less accidents, 60% freed parking space, and about 1.2 billion hours of pure driving time saved over a period of 10 years. The highest willingness to share self-driving vehicles was encountered in China and India, the lowest in the Netherlands and the United Kingdom. Of course, self-driving comes not without new risks and new challenges, such as the impact on jobs. Nevertheless, the combination of autonomous vehicles and sharing economy is a powerful formula.
What are the biggest barriers in respect to implementing the self-driving vehicle concept in today's cities?
The World Economic Forum has spoken to policymakers in 25 cities, including New York, Amsterdam, Dubai, and Singapore, and has conducted a consumer survey among 5,500 city dwellers. The responses have been sometimes surprising. We know that many cities are pushing towards sustainable mobility models, such as public transport, walking, and cycling. In this light, many policymakers seem to have thought about self-driving vehicles. However, they have expressed that there is high uncertainty, in particular around public acceptance and technological readiness. 56% consider consumers' acceptance as the top impediment. 44% see the biggest barrier in the maturity of the technology. However, despite this, 88% of the policymakers expect autonomous vehicles to become gradually reality starting within the next 10 years. And what is the view of the consumers? 58% of the 5,500 urban dwellers surveyed in 10 countries and 27 cities are ready to try a self-driving car. 53% are willing to buy one, and many are prepared to pay more than $5,000 extra for a self-driving vehicle. The most important advantage is seen in the time saved for parking and driving. The biggest concern is safety. And there is good news for the environment too. 66% of the respondents see a self-driving vehicle to be electric or hybrid.
And what does autonomous mean for the transport of goods?
The person with the truck and the van will be largely freed from driving. Instead, other tasks can be completed. For example, preparation of documentation, checks of devices, or communication with customers and receivers. Provided legally permitted, also the preparation for unloading and sorting can be considered while vehicles are self-driving. Maybe less personnel is required in the driverless future. Consequently, productivity gains, lower costs, and better quality of service can be expected. Good news for shippers and transportation companies. We might also see more democratization of supply chain. Owners of self-driving cars might wish to use the own vehicle to pick up the goods instead of having them delivered at home or other places, such as work or service points. This will probably not replace the delivery services of today's express parcel operators, but might be an interesting supplementary option. And the retail business in the cities might as well benefit from the new level of convenience. The autonomous concept does not come without threats. 60% of the policymakers expect that there will be a ban for private cars in a significant part of the cities over the next 15 years. Will this ban stay limited to private vehicles? Probably not. Over time, cities might be tempted to limit goods delivery activities. In some cities, only authorized companies might be allowed to operate a fleet. For example, only a self-driving electric and hybrid fleet. Therefore, not only transportation companies, also shippers need to prepare for the driverless future.
And what are the remaining open items which need to be considered or resolved?
First, we have to admit self-driving is not anymore a theoretical concept. According to policymakers, autonomous mobility is right around the corner. If this holds true, city planners and manufacturers need to think and act fast. Although less accidents are expected, we need to better understand the risks and find solutions before going into mass application of autonomous mobility. One concern is cyber risk. In addition, we need to ensure that self-driving cars take the right ethical decisions. And this is a challenge, how to decide who the vehicle is supposed to save in case of an accident. Furthermore, cities need to consider the impact on jobs. Where to start to permit self-driving in the area of passengers, cargo, and in what way, instantly or gradually, and what will be the impact on public transportation and on the transportation industry. However, the advantages from autonomous mobility should by far outweigh the challenges.
And thank you, Wolfgang, for sharing today on this topic, autonomous vehicles and the impact on urban supply.
It's been a pleasure, Dustin. Thank you very much.